Hey guys, welcome back to my channel today. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the brand new Pat McGrath Labs Rose Decadence Eyeshadow Palette. We're also going to be talking about this Lip Fetish Divinyl Gloss. Now this is something new from her, a brand new formula, so I'm super excited to give you guys all of my thoughts on these two products, letting you guys know if I think they're worth the money or not. This is a palette I did order myself from the Pat McGrath website. Being in Canada, I finally received it, so let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back. So what I said about being in Canada, the Pat McGrath website does ship to Canada, but it does take a heck of a lot longer to get to us in Canada versus in the US. So I finally received this palette and I'm super excited to give you guys my thoughts on this. This is a palette I did mention in my new makeup I'm super excited about video where I talked about this, but also had some fears as to what to expect. The one being that whenever Pat McGrath changes packaging styles, where she goes down to these types of cardboard packaging, I have tested out some that aren't like this, but they have that like kind of string with this spoolie thing to keep it all together, and it's like a trifold bendable kind of packaging. I have tested those out and have been underwhelmed formula wise compared to her big lacquer Mothership 10-pan palettes like this one. So I do have some thoughts about this as I've been playing with it, and of course I'll share everything with you guys. Just so you guys know though, my fellow Canadian viewers, if you do order from Pat McGrath, make sure, even if you're ordering the expedited shipping, make sure to expect a few days for processing time. I believe I ordered this, I'm just gonna double check when I ordered it. I did order it on release date, but just looking at my receipt so you guys can have an idea. I ordered it on August 12th, so today is currently August 21st. I received it yesterday, August 20th. So that is expedited shipping to me in Canada. It's still over a week, so do keep in mind that it will take a while for us. This luckily is available at Sephora though, so I think it was either the same day or the next day that I saw it there, and I was instantly kicking myself because Sephora is very fast, much faster than Pat McGrath. So this is available there. This is 65 American dollars or 86 Canadian dollars, and it's currently back in stock on both Sephora Canada and Sephora US. The other thing we're going to be talking about today is this Lip Fetish Divinyl like gloss bomb type thing. This is something that I was super eager to test out and I've been very impressed so far. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about the palette. So this palette, like I said, the price point wise, it is obviously more affordable than her 10-pan palettes. However, you are receiving less shades in this. These are the shades here. We do have 6 of them. We have some shimmers, some mattes, and we also have some shimmers that are incredibly coarse upon actually putting your hand in to put a swatch. It's very interesting. It's almost like a mini hand or fingertip exfoliation because these two in particular, actually this one's a little bit rough, but these two in particular, I feel like when I put my finger into them, I'm exfoliating my skin. It's definitely a little coarser compared to some other formulas she's had. And when it comes to the mattes also, this is also something I kind of figured out. The mattes that I used today for my look, which I will talk about in a second how I created this, but the mattes are right here in this palette. We have this one, which is called Hedonistic Rose, I think, or Hedonistic Rose. Then we have Peach Dusk over here, which is a true peachy kind of matte. Now keep in mind with regards to these types of shades, I know a lot of you guys have expressed some concern about bright pinks like this. I have brown eyes, so I feel like I don't look sick when I put on a bright pink, but there might be some other eye colors or skin tones, etc., that might feel a little bit like awkward to put on a color this bright because it might look almost like you've been crying or some kind of illness. So just keep in mind that these really are true to color. They're extremely bright, which is a good thing, but just so you guys know, for preference wise, expect a very bright result. This is also a rose product from Pat McGrath, and I do have a little bit of a prediction. I'm thinking just like, you know, NARS before her, where there was the Orgasm, million products after Orgasm, and then there was the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk everything. I wonder if rose is going to be Pat McGrath's thing. We will see, but this is the 3rd rose product I believe that she's released. The first one being Divine Rose, which is this 10-pan lacquer packaging palette. And then we also had Divine Rose 2, which I have in front of me also. So she has done quite a few rose things already. One of my worries, like I said, was changes in formula and in texture. I've already talked about how there's some shades that are a little more coarser. However, the mattes too, they feel in this 6-pan palette, they feel better than the 6-pan palettes I've had in the past, which I'm very thankful for. However, they are still a little bit dry compared to the mattes that are in these big palettes. I always feel like I'm just blown away by all the formulas in these ones. So this one is Divine Rose 1. You can see it's way cooler. It's obviously not as bright pink. It has a lot of mauve tones and things like that. But this is something where the mattes absolutely blow me away. I've maintained this too, kind of throughout the years, that her 10-pan palettes are the best formulation. They're obviously the highest price point she offers, but this is something that I think the formula is incredibly consistent and really, really well done. Whereas she does tend to change things a little bit when you get down to the 6-pan palettes, doing something a little bit different with formulation, probably to make that price point for her seem justified, whether that's packaging changes or whether that's formula changes. Obviously, we see both. So the packaging of this is not my favorite. It is better, I would say, than the spoolie with the string. It's just a lot of work to do that. Obviously, if you like that kind of thing and that's more of an artistic flair for you, by all means. But this is kind of like a book with like a magnetic closure at the end. You can see that. It also has a little bit of a gloss over top of the cardboard finish, so it's a little bit shiny. But this feels very lightweight in the hand. It feels very cardboardy. I don't mind cardboard typically, but what I find cheap about it is kind of like the corners here. What I find cheap about it is you can kind of see there's some creasing in the cardboard in the corners right here. I don't know, it just feels like flimsy almost. So it's not like the worst thing in the world, but I don't feel like it's, I don't know, for the price point, it's still $65 US. Obviously, we're not expecting the lacquer packaging, but something a little bit better I think is reasonable. I don't know, what do you think? All I can say is that when it came to previous 6-pan palettes, I found that even working with those mattes, I really had to work at them. Like I felt like they weren't blending as well compared to the 10-pan lacquer packaging. This one though, very improved when it comes to that, and that I am thankful for, but they are certainly not the same as her 10-pan lacquer packaging. So for the look that I did today, I'll tell you guys how I did it. I'm actually fairly proud of this. So I went all over the lid with Peach Dusk first of all. This is one of the mattes, and this is the brightest matte. It's a true peach, definitely a bright pink though, and it does blend well on the skin. I won't say it is as blendable as her 10 pans, like I said, but it's definitely an improvement from previous 6-pan palettes, which I very much appreciate. Then I went all over the lid with one of her shimmers in this palette, and this is Pink Champagne. This kind of cools the look a little bit overall, but kind of gives that shimmer that I was looking for. Applies effortless to the lid also, there's no fallout. It's a very, very nice shimmer for sure. Then I went in with the second matte. I wanted to see especially if a darker matte would be harder to blend or harder to build up or anything like that, and it isn't, so that's a good thing. So this is the Hedonistic Rose shade, there we go, and this is actually kind of like a plummy color, a little bit of like a purpley plum, really, really nice to add to the corner of the lid like I'm doing here to add some depth. The last shade I used today is called Golden Honey. This is the one that has a fairly coarse texture upon swatch. It does, like I said, feel like a little bit of a hand exfoliation when you're swatching it, but when it comes to applying it to the lid, it's one that falls slightly, of course, because it's heavier, but it does have a nice pigment punch. It's a rich kind of golden honey color, hence the name. It's a very yellowy gold kind of shimmer shade, and obviously if you apply it with a fingertip, it's gonna have a much more amplified look to the lid. I wanted to keep it softer, so I used a brush application. So here are the swatches for this new Rose Decadent palette. We do have from left to right, I'm gonna show you guys. We have Golden Honey, which is on the far left. Then we have Pink Champagne, Peach Dusk, which is the matte, Fuchsia Flame, Hedonistic Rose, which is the other matte, and then we have Scandalous. So as you can see, they do appear peachy. There's some pink, but there's also some bronze tones in this one, which is very interesting, like some bronze kind of copper elements. So it does add some diversity to the palette, which once again it's a good thing. If you want to have some different looks going on, it's not just pink on pink on pink. It increases the variability of looks you can create, which further justifies the price point. Now, when it came to like comparisons between her other rose palettes and her other rose things, I took a look at, see if I can do this one-handed. This is going to be a little tough. I took a look at the Divine Rose one. This is tougher than I thought, you guys. Okay, these don't have a ton of similarities. I'm gonna show you, maybe I'll swatch the two kind of silvery yellows or the golden yellow shades on each one, but really they're not the same. But what I do notice is some similarities with Divine Rose 2. So I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do some comparisons for you because Divine Rose 2 is a little bit of a brighter collection also. We do have like those two peachy mattes that look fairly similar. We have purples on the ends that look similar. So this is also one I'm gonna do some comparisons with. So looking at the comparisons from Rose Decadence to Divine Rose 2, as you can see, they still translate incredibly different on the skin. So that is something to definitely be happy about. If you are a Pat McGrath lover, you will definitely feel comforted knowing there aren't any dupes in this palette. Although they do look similar in pan, when translated, they're definitely different colors. Comparing the two yellow golds between Rose Decadence and Divine Rose 1, what we can see here is that the Rose Decadence one is definitely more of a bronze, and in the Divine Rose 10 pan palette, you will see it's much more of a champagne, more of a white gold. So obviously the two shades are also different. So overall, would I recommend this palette to you? Now, first of all, I do want to be clear that I don't think you should expect the same formula quality between this one and the 10 pan lacquer ones. I do think if you are okay with that, this is still an okay formula, definitely an improvement from previous 6 pan palettes, especially with the matte shades. But I do think that if you're wanting like the best formula that she can offer, do make sure that you are investing in one of these, because even though it is way more money than this 6 pan one, it is the absolute best formula that she offers, like multiple different types of formulas, matte shimmers, and the astral shades and things like that. But this is by far the best quality product that she offers. This one to me is a welcome change, of course. I'm happy that I have it. The packaging could definitely be better, but the saving grace of this one is that the mattes are much better than previous 6 pans. Now let's talk about really quick the Lip Fetish Divinyl Balm. This, you guys, blew me away. It's incredibly moisturizing on the lips, and the pigmentation is definitely surprising considering it's a balm. I had pretty low expectations because of the fact that it's a balm. I figured it would be fairly sheer, so it actually isn't described as sheer. I thought for sure though, just given that it's a balm, that it would be, but it's even described with rich color and it definitely delivers. The packaging on this is much better in my opinion versus the 6 pan eyeshadow palette, because it still has that weightiness in the hand, feels like a luxurious lip product from her. I love the gold lips detailing that she always has, and I like the metallic purpley pink outer packaging. The shade that I have is Nude Venus. It's described as a nude pale beigey pink. Definitely something that delivers in that, but I wouldn't say that it is too nudie for it to look like concealer lips or anything. It is the lip product I'm wearing currently, and as you can see, as I'm applying it, it's very smooth on the lips. The pigmentation is a couple of swipes away from full capacity already, so it's definitely something I'm singing its praises for sure. This is worth the money, in my opinion. It is a luxury price point, of course. The price point in American dollars is $36 each. $48 Canadian each. So we're looking at a very high price point. So if you like lip products, if you want a balm that's got quite a bit of pigmentation considering, I do think it is worth trying out. But like I said, if you are not looking for something like this or it's not in the budget, don't force yourself to try something like this. You're just gonna have guilt if you spend this much money and you really didn't want to. With regards to longevity, it actually lasts on the lips fairly long considering. I was actually kind of surprised about that too. I often find that I'm reapplying balms, I would say once or twice an hour, which is kind of come to be expected for me. But when it comes to this product, I actually felt like it hung on a little bit longer. So this one I felt like I was only reapplying every hour or so, every hour and a half. That's just me being completely honest, but I also want it to be like full pigmentation, full moisturizing benefit. So maybe I'm going like overboard with the reapplication, but that's kind of how I feel. It's not a stain, so if you do happen to eat a meal or something, expect it to go away, but I do think that this is a really, really nice balm. So very luxury price point, of course, but definitely something I am loving so far. What do you guys think of this new Pat McGrath release? Is this something that's going to be on your list or not? Did you already pick up the Rose Decadence palette, or are you going to skip on it this time? And what are your thoughts on these Lip Fetish Divinyl balms? Do let me know everything down below and all of your thoughts. I really hope this review was helpful for you, and until my next one, guys, take care. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.
But somewhere there's a light inside of us. It shows the way.